All right, so what we're going to do for 2.3 and 2.4 is we're going to be doing void methods. What is a void method? I can see we have public static void main. What does that actually mean, though? A void method doesn't return a value. So we don't see me returning 3, and it's going to print out 3 or do something with 3. I'm creating objects. I can print things. I can call methods in my void method, my main void method. We're not returning a value in particular. So let's head over to course.java and let's write a void method. So here we have course. So let's write public void. And what we're going to do, actually I'll do static void. Static's very, very cool. And we're going to give it a name. Let's do teach. And we're not going to put any parameters in. And all this is going to do is it's not going to return a value. It's going to print out teaching ... And what makes this different from a constructor? Well, one, constructors aren't void. Constructors also don't return a value, so methods in constructors are a little bit different. It's just kind of reassigning a value. A constructor initializes the fields, and we're not initializing a field with the teach method. All we're doing is printing out teaching. Now, let's call the teach method. Let's say we want to teach. So what we're going to do is that we're going to call it like our constructor. We're just going to do the name and then our parentheses. Now, we're going to get an error when we do this. Why? Because it's in another class. It's in course.java instead of main.java where we're calling it. So what we need to do is that we need to associate this kind of with an object. So let's say course 1 is teaching. What we're going to do is we're going to do course1.teach. And then what it's going to do now is it's going to say course 1 is teaching. Except it's just going to print out teaching because that's all we said for it to do. So now it's printing out teaching. And we could call this bajillion amount of times, and it's going to print it out a bajillion amount of times. And how methods really work, especially if they're non-void, is that they're going to return a value in, not the same, not non-void. What methods are going to do if they are void or non-void, they're going to basically disrupt the flow of your code to do whatever it needs to do. So if we had 20 different lines of code in our teaching method, once the program gets to our call, it's going to stop the main.java stuff and do everything that the teach method is going to do before resuming the rest of our file. So if we print something out after the teach call, it's going to print it out after we call the teaching method. So that's just something that you need to know. So yeah, let's write one with a parameter. And this is just going to have nothing to do with course. So what we're going to do, we'll do public static void, and we'll just do cost. Maybe you have to pay for a course because this is really bad. Or just pay for the AP exam in general. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a parameter to it. And what we're going to do is we'll do an integer parameter. I know I said double for money, blah, 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 blah. But in this case, we can do an integer. And let's just say integer C for cost. Make it really short and simple. And you can share parameter names throughout all your methods, which is very beneficial because they're not real variables. Basically, that's how I say it. So public static void cost, and what we're just going to do is that we're going to just do a print statement, and all it's going to do is it's going to print cost plus C. So what it's going to do is just going to make a print message. When you give in the cost, it's going to say how much the cost is. So let's call this method. So let's do course 3. Let's say the cost for an AP comparative government exam is going to be $96. So all we're going to put in is an argument for 96. So we're going to say the cost is 96. Now, if we put 96.0, we would get an issue because it has to be the same value. So that's something to point out. And of course, like our constructors, if we had multiple parameters, our arguments would have to be in the same order. Parameters are when we make our method. Arguments are when we call our method. Just clearing up some stuff, covering all my bases here because I don't want to have a confused student watching. So we're going to run this, and it's going to do the teach method, of course, because I have not commented it or removed it. And then it's going to print the cost 96. If I wanted to print $96, have the dollar sign, well, all I got to do is go to my string in my print statement and add the dollar sign in there. So now it's going to say cost $96. Very, very cool. Now, what if I wanted to do this in my main method? Well, let's write a method in our main method. So let's write if a course is available or not, or school's in session. How about that? So let's do public static void. Let's do in session. And then what we're going to do is we're going to print out a line statement, print line statement that's going to say school is in session or something like that. And what we're going to do to call a method in the same class, all we got to do is just call it. So we'll just say in session. And there's no parameters, so we don't have to have any arguments. And when we run our code, it's going to work perfectly. So it's going to print out teach, and it's going to print out the cost of $96, and then it's going to print out that school is in session. And yeah, void methods. Very, very cool. And we're going to be working with these a lot in this course. And same thing with constructors. Methods are said to be overloaded when there are multiple methods with the same name, but a different signature. So let's try that. Let's do another one, actually. And I want to kind of experiment that. So let's do public static void in session again. Now, the signature does have to be different. That's where our parameter list comes in. As you can see, we're already getting a little bit of a duplicate method here. Let's do a string t. Now, even though we have stuff in our method, it's still going to give us an error. What if we made this? Sorry, no, we're not going to get an error. Because we have different stuff, different parameter signature, it's going to not give us an error. So let's say we have to do something with our string t. School is in session. T could be a boolean. So let's say t. So it's going to just print out some random things. So if we print it out in session again, and we gave it a parameter, it has a different signature, it's going to call our second one. So let's say our string is going to be true. And it's not going to print out as a boolean. This is a string because it's in double quotations. So it's going to print out teaching, cost $96, school's in session, and it's going to say school's in session, true. Boom! Void methods. Yeah! Very, very cool. Okay. And yeah, that is 2.3 and 2.4. Void methods. And that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. It's free and it really does help me out. I have more AP computer science videos if you want to go check those out. They're really, really helpful and all of that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.